Hello guys, this is Charles1K92 here, also known as GM65, off on the PlayStation Store Network. Well, here we are on our final week, ladies and gentlemen. It is the 22nd, so 7 days to go, 3 days for our Japanese friends over the Asian part of the world. Okay, now I know many of you have got many questions, one of which, title just says Kingdom Hearts 3, we were expecting the game. No, and I'm going to guess the other question is the flag that's behind me, so I'll leave you guys to imagine whatever it is that you want to imagine. At the end of the day, it's just a flag. Any case, so Kingdom Hearts 3, what is it about? Well, it's a continuation of the Kingdom Hearts story, isn't it? So this is the third long-awaited title. We've been waiting for so many years for this game to come out. It almost feels like it's generally not really happening, yet it is. So then, what is this video getting to the point of? Well, we are going to be talking about how the game is more or less going to start, potentially how is it going to get to where it's going, and then finally its end. So, why don't we roughly get cracking on? So, how will the game initially open up? Well, we're going to get that glorious, lovely intro that we saw not that long ago in one of the trailers, although it's not going to be too short, it's going to be quite longer, so from what I gathered from taking a look at it, we might see a duality. Now, what do you mean by that? Well, in the beginning of this, it mainly shows a lot of young Xehanort and what he's done in the past to more or less cause instability. And then perhaps maybe what we'll see before the trailer comes to an end is that we see maybe young Eraqus and him putting down his pieces and him going up against Xehanort's pieces, and so on and so forth. In the end, once this intro's come and gone, we'll actually get a cutscene between the two again, but this time it's going to be the one which we saw in the trailer way back when, where they mainly talk about the Keyblade War, the Lost Masters, and who will prevail in the end, the light or the darkness. Xehanort seems to think darkness will win, while Eraqus believes, well, the light can still surprise you, so don't knock it off. So don't, say, oh, it's not going to do anything. Now, what I kind of do hope is that at some intervals in the game, we kind of maybe get more conversations between these two people when they're younger, so who knows, hopefully we might get to see a bit of, I'm not saying gameplay, but something from their past. So it's quite clear and obvious at this time, because they are too young, they haven't been given the title of Master yet, so they're still in training, and Xehanort doesn't have the no-name Keyblade yet, because it's still hanging up on the wall. So I'm hoping that at some point we get to see them age a little bit more. So we get to see them as they are in the beginning, we get to see them as they're men, and then we get to see them as obviously when they're old. So we know what they look like when they're older, but it'd be nice to see the Kingdom Hearts 3 look. Anyway, so we're going to move on to Sora's story along with Riku, since we're both playing them in the game. So for Sora, where has Sora been recently? Well, before the events of Kingdom Hearts 3, he was off in the Dream Worlds completing his Mark of Mastery, which unfortunately he failed thanks to Xehanort interfering with the test. So now Sora now has gone back to the Sleeping Realm, and he is thanking all the Dream Eaters. Now while this is taking place, the events of 0.2 Birth by Sleep have taken place. Now, when I say this, I mean Mickey explaining what has happened, along with what Yin Sid has said, and Riku, Kairi having their conversations with Yin Sid and Mickey. Now, how does Sora get back to the mysterious tower, I hear you ask? Well, I can't think of a much more simplistic way of how I can describe it, but this flag here is going to provide a little bit of context of what is what, so hopefully it makes sense. So imagine this if you can. On this side of the map, of this side of the flag, so view this part here as the realm of awakening. Now, in the realm of awakening, there are little subdivides. So if we were to zoom in on here, then it becomes the whole flag. So then you have the realms of light, the realm of dark, and the realm of in between. To border these things. But if we zoom out, we have the realm of awakening and the realm of sleeping. Now, Sora travelled from the waking world back into the sleeping world via a portal or a portway. So that was pretty simplistic enough. He didn't have to select any world in the sleeping world. He just had to open a portal, go in, and he just so happened to arrive in the sleeping variant of Traverse Town. Thanks to all the Dream Eaters, now it's time to go home. And this is where it gets tricky. I'm just going to be using my deodorant cans as an example. So imagine this can is Yinsid's tower, or the mysterious tower, and envision this world as Twilight Town. Now, on their own, they are technically separate worlds. However, the tower and Twilight Town, as per Kingdom Hearts 2, seem to share the same space in the world, so they seem to overlap each other. So, Tower, Twilight Town. Now for Sora, I don't think he's that well versed on distinguishing between the two. He knows he has to get back here, but he misses his shot and ends up here. So you could maybe say, as the worlds were spinning around each other, Sora just missed his mark and boom, Twilight Town. So he's having to distinguish these two things whilst in the dream world. Keeping in mind, he's never done portals before properly, so how is he going to really tell the difference between one world from another? Anyway, moving right along. So Sora arrives in Twilight Town thinking to himself, okay, I must have messed up the landing at some point. This is where our tutorial stage comes in. So I'm going to surmise that Sora's going to want to do some things here. So mainly we want to learn how we move around, how we turn the camera, how we lock onto objects, how we can wall run if we can do it at this stage. Opening chests and also interacting with our environment. I'm kind of hoping that maybe it might have something to do with Remy's restaurant. I don't know why this might be, but I've got a feeling while Sora arrives in Twilight Town mistakenly, he might bump into Remy himself. This is the Ratatouille character from the film Ratatouille. And I've got a feeling that Sora will, help him. He will save his life from whatever is chasing him. And Sora will, be forever, well, Remy won't say thank you, but Remy will be giving off his silent approval to say, well, thank you, strange person. I'll never forget this kindness that you've done me, and Remy will just run off. And Sora will think, well, at least I've helped someone today. That's good. And from this maybe engagement that Sora might have had with maybe a few Heartless, maybe a couple of Nobodies, who knows? But Sora will come to realise that he doesn't have his full strength. So he then has to make a beeline for the tower to hopefully get some better clairvoyancy on this, some better judgment from the master. Arrives at the tower, Donald and Goofy ask where he's been. Sora says it's a secret because Donald said he screwed up. Speaks to Yinsid and we get the 0.2 cutscene, and Sora gets told that he has to go to Olympus. So we'll go to Olympus, probably via cutscene, or maybe even we get to freely go there, but perhaps maybe we'll be hand-led, as it were, so we'll be dragged along as if to say, come on, this is where we have to go, once you go here, then you can do whatever you like. So I'll be like, cool, we can do that. Arrive in Hercules' world, we probably don't bump into Hercules straight away, we might meet Phil. Phil is generally the first character we see in the Olympus world, so I wouldn't be too surprised if Phil comes off with saying, Sora, Donald, Goofy, it's great to see you guys. I know that you've earned your hero wings, you're no longer junior heroes, you don't need to rub it in. So let's just say Donald kind of feels glad that he's recognised as a hero properly, not junior heroes. Anyway, Phil decides to ask, why are they here? Are you in for more training? Training is always a good thing. Sora kindly agrees. He says, yes, I wouldn't mind having some training, Phil. What have you got for us today to do? So we'll go and do a little bit of a course. We'll come out of it with flying colours. But let's just say even Phil can tell that Sora's not at 100%. So Phil will say, I don't know what it is, Sora, but you just seem to be, you've done the course, you've done it very well, but I have a feeling you could have done it a lot more quicker. And let's just say Sora says, yeah, that's partly the reason why I'm here. So he says, oh, okay, explain. Sora says, well, something recently happened and my abilities have been blocked. And I have a feeling that Hercules had the same issue. So I just want to know, how did he conquer this issue? How did he get past it? See if I can learn something. Phil says, that's a good idea. And let's just say, Phil says, well, he's not here at the Colosseum. He's like, okay, well, where is he? He's just in the city of Thebes. It's just down there. So Sora goes, okay, no problem. So we make our way down. at some point, I reckon Maleficent and Pete are going to show up, as they should do, and they're going to be inquiring Hades about this box, the box that Lucio had. Moving more further along, the organisation is still going to be up to its nefarious tricks. This is Xehanort's organisation, not Xemnas', and at some point they'll be showing themselves in nearly every world that Sora goes to, mainly to try and maybe coerce Sora to use more darkness, to coerce Sora to get Roxas back, and perhaps maybe even to coerce Sora to become the 13th vessel. Even though, technically, on how many members of the organisation that we've seen, it does seem that they have all 13 people, but perhaps maybe they need to have a selective person to be the 13th member. So, whether this is Data Riku, Replica Riku, or Clone of Riku, or just a Riku in general, not the real one, might not be the 13th vessel. Now, there is a mysterious character who makes an appearance in this new organisation, but we don't know who this person is. Now, this person might be Roxas, this person might be Xion, but given on how tall they are, doesn't seem to be so. And Isa or Sayak seems to know who they are, and Lee seems to recognise this person too. So whoever this mysterious person is, they're no joke. Anyway, at some point we are going to have to go back to the mysterious tower and explain to Yin Sid that we got our powers back. So Yin Sid will then bestow Sora his new travelling clothes and we'll be ready to set off on our adventure. But before we go, Riku and the King come back. Now, I don't think they would have gone to the Realm of Darkness straight away. They're still trying to find a way in, because, keeping in mind, at this current moment, both these two people do not have the power over the Dark anymore, since after the explosion of Ansem the Wise's device that blew up in the world that never was, Riku doesn't belong to the darkness anymore. He could use it, but he can't necessarily, he doesn't necessarily, what's the word now? The darkness doesn't have any possession over him, so even if he wanted to open up a corridor of darkness, he can't. So that's the whole point. Now, they are probably still out searching for many worlds, and maybe they've found a world. So they've come back to report into Yin Sid to say, listen, we found a good world to use as a staging ground to go into the Realm of Darkness. Now, I know this might sound a bit crazy, but I've got a feeling Destiny Islands is going to play a role in this being the world as a world that we use to go into the Realm of Darkness. And I know what many will be saying. They'll be saying, you can't use this world because it's too close into the light and it's Sora, Riku and Kairi's home. So why would you want to jeopardise this? Well, the only way how I could imagine they could do this is by using the heart of the world as a doorway. Now, this is risky in itself. If done incorrectly, you could lose the world. But perhaps maybe because, not that since Riku's been made recently a master, but because Mickey does have the Dark Realm's Keyblade, and it's somewhat being infused with the Star Seeker, perhaps maybe this key blade is unique and it is able to actually manipulate a heart of the world to say, look, to be a door. So we can open it, we can close it, and we can lock it directly afterwards once we're done. So let's just say they can do this, and Yin Sid seems to agree. He says, well, I'll set up some protective spells and barriers to make sure nobody else interferes. So Yin Sid could probably do this while he's sitting in the chair. Mickey agrees and he'll help with the spelling, because Mickey was trained by Yin Sid at least. And they go off and do this. Sora in the meantime travels to many different worlds, because his task apparently is to find a Keyblade that unlocks people's hearts, or sets them free. Now, the last time a Keyblade of this caliber was last seen was in Hollow Bastion, so I wouldn't put it to shame that we go to this world either as soon as possible, or maybe further down the line. So at some point we will go to Radiant Garden, because we're going to be needing the smartphone device to, you know, take selfies and stuff and whatever. And it's also mainly used as a communications device, seeing as Riku probably has one, Lee might have one, and maybe Yin Sid as well. Not to mention Chip and Dale, because, you know, we need to be able to speak to everybody almost. Now then, once we do this, I have a feeling that the organisation is obviously going to return back to Radiant Garden, because they want to pick somebody up, mainly Vexen. Vexen comes back as a Seeker of Darkness, along with Demyx. I don't say that Demyx is part of Radiant Garden's populace, but he does make an appearance there to drop off something for Ienzo. Now, I have a feeling who he drops off is Ansem the Wise, and it's part of maybe a deal. So he says, look, I've gotten your master back, In return, we want this. So I reckon Ienzo has no choice, but he has to comply with whatever it is. Hopefully he doesn't become a nobody again, and hopefully he doesn't join the Seekers of Darkness. I don't want this dude to do that, because I mean, he was a little kid when he joined. So, any case. We travel from world to world to world, and we interfere with what the organisation tries to do in each individual world, stopping them at every way that we turn. Now, at some point, we have to go back to Twilight Town in order to get Roxas back. Now, I would say either this is at the halfway point or at the 25% point, so a quarter of the way through. So maybe a quarter of the way through, we have to rescue Roxas. Halfway point, we'll have to go and rescue Aqua, which will then in turn rescue Ventus, because that'll be a big arc then. So if you think about it, Roxas will be one. Whether we succeed or fail, I don't know. Hopefully we succeed. Sora will then meet up with Riku, because at this point Riku would have gone to the Realm of Darkness, his Keyblade would have been destroyed, and he would have had to come back to get a new one, thanks to help with instead forging a Keyblade for him. Mickey in the meanwhile is Keyblade-less maybe at this time, and he says what's happened with Aqua, and he tells Sora where she's at. So by the time we have to get to maybe Destiny Islands, will be considered the halfway point. So once we go into the Realm of Darkness, we might be on our own fully. I will challenge Aqua, we'll probably beat her, or we can't, it depends. If we do beat her, she gets to come back to the Realm of Light, and we then have to more or less get to Ventus then. So if Aqua isn't too far gone, we should be able to get her up and running straight away, and we would also have the Master's Defender Keyblade, or Master's Keeper. We'll make our way over to Castle Oblivion then, so this might be a world as well, keeping in mind that we'll also have to visit, or maybe it'd be one of those worlds where it's not a world that we visit, but it's a world that we get to transform into a world that we visit, who knows. So once we are there, we do what we have to do, and Vanitas will show up and he'll try to challenge, Ventus to waking up. Now, Sora probably would have dived into the heart of himself in order to get Ventus out, so meaning Sora isn't physically present because he's within Ventus at this time. And perhaps maybe when Vanitas is about to kill Aqua, Ventus will wake up, Sora will probably pop out as well, and Ventus will attack Vanitas, and we'll probably get an epic cutscene of a boss fight, who knows. The consequences might be damning, who knows. At the same time, not at the same time, but after all this is done, maybe Insta will inform everybody, look, this is what's going down, Xehanort has nearly got what he wants. I think we have nearly everybody here who's a Keyblade wielder, so if we were to round off who we have, just for argument's sake, we have Sora, we have Riku, we have Kairi, we have Mickey, we have Lee, we have Ventus, we have Aqua. I'm not going to count Xion because we don't know her fate, and so we have all 7 Keyblade wielders. This seems to be quite possible, so we'll go with these people. So when we do eventually go to the Keyblade Graveyard, at some point earlier on, Terranort was probably facing off the Lingering Will, since the pair of them seemed to clash at some point in one of the trailers not that long ago. Anyway, so Sora will challenge against Xehanort and his Seekers of Darkness. Now, I surmise this will take place after we face the 1,000 Heartless / Nobodies / Unversed, so we'll have that to deal with. And each Keyblade wielder will be going up against so many versions of Xehanort, so it's going to be a hard battle. Now, death, I believe, is going to be possible, so Lee might potentially die, Donald might potentially die, Goofy, Mickey, Kairi even Riku is also on this panel of death as well, including Sora. Sora is not going to be plot armoured to be, you know, unkillable. He can still technically die, so I suppose we have to be very careful during this time. Now, in the end, Xehanort will get what he wants. He will get Kingdom Hearts, he will get the Keyblade, and he will cause the whole thing to end. Now, I reckon once Kingdom Hearts is summoned, I reckon both Xehanort and Sora will be absorbed into Kingdom Hearts. And Xehanort, because he will have maybe the true Keyblade, he won't be affected by Kingdom Hearts trying to absorb him. Sora, however, doesn't have this same protection. He has multiple versions of himself running around. So he has to collect all these different variants of himself in order to keep him sustained within Kingdom Hearts. Until he gets to maybe Scarlet Echelon, so this is where Xehanort and Sora might have their final battle. Who knows? If this is the case, then that's it. That's probably where it finally ends. But then what also comes down to it is this as well, is perhaps maybe Sora might meet somebody in Kingdom Hearts, somebody who's remained hidden since the last Keyblade War ever took place. And I reckon it might be the Master of Masters himself. Now I know, many of you would say, but wait a minute, he was gone, he disappeared, he vanished, or he died. Well, keeping in mind, he never said he would die, he said that he would just one day disappear. So, eventually this did come to pass, he did eventually just vanish. Now, the only thing that I can surmise of him vanishing is that he probably became one with Kingdom Hearts. Why is this? Well, he was the very first Keyblade wielder to ever exist, he was very powerful, very knowledgeable, and he was probably able to do nearly anything. So, he probably was able to walk up to Kingdom Hearts itself and said to it, listen, there's a load of bad stuff going to happen. I've been faithful to you, I've done everything I can, I would just want to merge with you, I don't want to take your powers, I'm already powerful enough as it is, I just want to stay within Kingdom Hearts, I want to stay within the glorious land that you are. And Kingdom Hearts, sensing his virtue and being truthful, opens its doors, takes him in, and keeps him safe, I guess. The consequences of the war take place, Kingdom Hearts shows up, swallows up all the hearts, even darkness, gets corrupted, and thus the worlds collapse. Now, in this case for Xehanort, I'm going to guess he's going to bypass all this, and he'll go to Scarlet Island, which is where the powerful Keyblade wielders once sat. Now, I reckon the Master of Masters would want to assist Sora, but not physically, will probably give him a power which is much more greater than anything. Perhaps maybe, as a consequence, we might get spat out of Kingdom Hearts, meaning that we don't get to Scarlet Island through Kingdom Hearts. And this is where the box will come into question. Maybe the Master of Masters says, I gave something to one of my apprentices, Luxu, long ago. If you go back to a certain world, let's say the Land of Departure, there will be a secret place there which I think Luxu would have made. If you go there, activate it, you might be able to get a location of where the box is. Maybe it might be this thing of Race Against Time where we have to get to each individual world quickly, solve a few puzzles, and gain more information on where the box is held. Now, if the box is left in Destiny Islands, and that's cliche, if the box is left still in Daybreak Town, in the Land of Departure, then again it's kind of like, okay, well, if it was there, it was there. Or it could be Radiant Garden, it could be Incest Tower, it could have been left anywhere in any world. Who knows? But for some reason this box is important, and it will have to be opened probably by Sora alone to gain access to whatever lies within. Anyway, so we'll have our final battle, and whatever will be, will be. And I think that is all, ladies and gentlemen. So I have been me, you have been you. Please remember to leave a little like, comment, and also a subscription if you want to continue to see what comes after this video, which will be the unboxing of Kingdom Hearts 3. So please enjoy yourself, have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys next time.